Scotland's northern reaches are wild, rugged, and almost untouched by urban life. While cities like Edinburgh and Glasgow bustle in the south, only a small fraction call the Highlands home. Here, nature reigns supreme, and human footprints are few. But why has development shied away from this remote part of Scotland? And is it likely to ever change? The northern part of Scotland, particularly the Highlands and the far reaches of Caithness and Sutherland, is one of Europe's most beautiful and remote regions. Vast, open landscapes and coastlines that meet the wild North Atlantic make it look like something out of a fantasy novel. The views are stunning, but life up north isn't for everyone. But how come? While it's rich in natural beauty, northern Scotland remains one of the least populated areas on the British Isles, and there's a reason for that. Or rather, there are several. Northern Scotland comprises the Highland region north of Inverness to the coast facing the North Sea and Atlantic Ocean. It's 9,000 square miles, about the area of New Hampshire, and it's got about 250,000 people living there. That's less than the number of people who live in many U.S. cities, spread out over an area notorious for odd weather and limited shopping, services, and amenities. In northern Scotland, weather is not just something you might chat about over a cup of tea. It's a very real part of daily life. The Highlands are particularly harsh in the winter, with average lows in the freezing range and many times even lower because of the wind chill. Blanketed with snow, the rugged terrain can be impassable for travel, and narrow, winding roads are often not prioritized for snow clearing. During the summer, temperatures climb into the 50s and 60s, which sounds pleasant but is unpredictable. Rain and wind can pop up suddenly, and with the influence of the Atlantic, cold fronts are common even in August. In winter, daylight hours in the far north can shrink to less than 6 hours, while in the height of the summer, twilight stretches nearly until midnight. While that may sound enchanting, adjusting to such extreme shifts isn't easy for most. The area's charm is partly in its isolation. But this isolation, while appealing to some, is also a deterrent for many potential residents. The farther north you go, the more sparse the towns and infrastructure become. In the northernmost points, like Thurso or Wick, you're about 100 miles north of Inverness, the largest city in the Highlands. A drive from Thurso to Inverness takes around 3 hours, covering narrow, scenic roads that make for a beautiful but challenging journey, especially during poor weather. Physical factors do contribute to northern Scotland's sparse population, but the main reasons are historical. Before the 1707 Union of the Parliaments, Scotland's population was more evenly split between the north and south of the River Tay. But after 1707, things shifted dramatically. Landowners began clearing locals from their land to pursue more profitable ventures, like grazing and hunting estates, leading to a monoculture of grouse shooting and deer herds. This left many areas nearly empty and deeply altered the land use, and today, land reform remains a big issue. High land costs, with plots often priced over £50,000, make it hard for locals to settle and develop. Some progress is happening. Inverness is now the fastest growing city in the UK, and recent land reforms have allowed local communities to buy out estates. But these buyouts remain rare, and the impact is limited. Residents in these parts find themselves miles away from major services, with fewer options for basic amenities. Some families find that groceries and essentials need to be stocked up weekly, given that trips to major stores could be over an hour away. Amazon Prime's next-day delivery? Not here. Most deliveries take days, and essential services are often more costly because of the high cost of getting items to these remote areas. Isolation is beautiful, but inconvenient. Scotland's northern reaches are also limited in job opportunities. The Highland economy has traditionally relied on industries like fishing, farming, and tourism, with some newer opportunities in renewable energy. However, the nature of work in northern Scotland remains seasonal, particularly in tourism, which employs many, but only during the warmer months. While some tech companies have promoted remote work, northern Scotland's connectivity issues, mainly limited internet in remote areas, pose a challenge. Many young people leave the region for opportunities in cities like Edinburgh, Glasgow, or even further south in England, where prospects are better. Its reliance on tourism and a small industry base makes the region less attractive to professionals who are looking for stability. In fact, it is estimated that 10,000 people leave the Highlands each decade to seek work and better career opportunities. The remoteness of these areas is ironic as we find the cost of housing has taken off, particularly in northern Scotland. Rising prices are due to the demand for holiday homes, most often to be used as a retreat by people from big cities. This has meant that many locals, especially young families, can't afford to buy homes in their own communities. The decline of the population is a result of a continuous shortage of affordable housing. This depopulation trend is bad for the region's infrastructure and local economy, as fewer people overall means fewer people to help keep the local businesses, schools, and healthcare running. But progress on this has been slow, even though the Scottish government has launched initiatives to help, including affordable housing projects. Northern Scotland is sparse with shopping and services as well. Outside of larger towns such as Inverness or Fort William, there are a few options, and whatever is available comes at a premium cost. Because rural people are more likely to live somewhat farther away, fuel costs turn out to be more expensive on average, and so travel becomes even more expensive for the citizens of those areas. Healthcare and education services are provided, but specialist services tend to be located in Inverness, with many routine medical appointments or specialist care being a full-day commitment. Even more importantly, residents experience delays for essential trades. Take the plumber, electrician, or builder as an example, because if you need one, you'll have a long waiting list because there aren't many service providers in that area. The lack of infrastructure and higher cost of goods and services is isolating and frustrating. Northern Scotland offers unique encounters with nature. Deer, seabirds, and even the occasional sea eagle are familiar sights. But along with these wonders come a few unwelcome visitors. Ticks are prevalent, particularly during spring and summer, posing a risk to both people and pets. Midges, tiny biting insects, are another notorious nuisance in the warmer months, making outdoor activities uncomfortable without protective gear or repellents. While some might see the proximity to wildlife as a benefit, the challenges of managing pests and respecting wildlife can be an added burden to daily life. Then there are the coastal considerations. Erosion and flooding risks have become more prominent due to climate change, impacting some coastal communities and homes. Nature is stunning, yet it comes with its own set of challenges. On the brighter side, living in northern Scotland offers certain health benefits. The outdoor lifestyle is a major attraction, with activities like hiking, fishing, and beach strolls. Many residents report feeling more active and less stressed than in urban areas, thanks to the slower pace and focus on self-sufficiency. The emphasis on community can also be a boost to mental health, as neighbors often look out for one another. Though this slower pace suits some, it isn't everyone's cup of tea. Adjusting from a fast-paced, connected lifestyle to Highland time, where things happen when they happen, can be an adjustment. For some, this is the biggest draw of northern Scotland. For most others, it's a reason to stay away. In truth, northern Scotland's challenges are what make it so unspoiled and untamed. Isolation, a limited job market, high housing costs, the weather, and everyday inconveniences keep the population small, preserving the landscape's natural beauty and solitude. For the people living in northern Scotland, the Highlands are not just a home, they are a way of living. A willingness to have wild and open spaces over the conveniences of the city. It isn't for everyone, but for those who are, the simplicity and beauty more than compensate for the trade-offs involved. However, the challenges of life in northern Scotland ensure it will remain one of Europe's last great wildernesses. It's beautiful, but you have to adapt, or you won't be able to stick around. However, for those that do take northern Scotland up on its offer, it offers a rare chance to deeply connect with the land and nature, to go completely off the grid, and to live life completely free from the hustle and bustle of modern living.